Hi, I'm John with Launch, small business legal solutions done differently. One of the things I hear a lot from business owners or they like to ask me is, "Hey, I don't know what I don't know. What are the questions I should be asking you, or what are the top few things we should look at to make sure I'm at least laying a solid foundation and can take care of a few risks that I know I should be able to avoid?" So, one or two things to get started would be making sure all your state filings are up to date. It's not uncommon that I run across companies who have forgotten to keep their state registration up to date with their LLC or their corporation, and it's been canceled or terminated automatically by the state because the annual filing fees haven't been paid, or maybe your business license isn't up to date, or some other professional license. So I think it's important to stay on top of those, make sure you're getting that done, keeping all those regulations taken care of, covering yourself that way. Another thing to pay attention to is make sure you've set up your entity in the way that you want it set up and all of that's put in place properly. You have the paperwork, the documents to show all of that. If you're an LLC, have you taken the steps of putting together an operating agreement, especially if you're in a multi-member LLC? Lots of considerations there. If you're a corporation, do you have your bylaws in place? Those types of things. I think another thing to pay attention to is your intellectual property. Every business has some intellectual property. Do you know what your intellectual property is? Are you able to recognize it when you create it? And then are you able to protect it and possibly monetize it as an additional revenue stream? So creating intellectual property can be really valuable for businesses. I think it's important to know what it is, how it works, and when you have it. Contracts, another sort of baseline foundational legal thing to be on top of. Have you got contracts for all your relationships? They don't have to be super long, 20 pages, what have you, but it's important to put down some terms. Make sure you've come to an agreement with workers, with vendors, with clients, with customers. And also, you want to make sure in there that you're sort of proactively addressing what dispute resolution looks like. You can save yourself a lot of time, trouble, money if you've got a contract that lays out how a dispute will be handled. So contracts are really important, and you want to sort of regularly review those, make sure they're protecting you as much as they can. Something we talked about before, making sure you understand how to classify workers if you're using them. You want your independent contractors to be properly classified and your employees to be properly classified. Otherwise, you're running into a lot of trouble, a whole lot of potential trouble. I think those are a few of sort of the baseline things that apply to most small businesses. Again, those are things that sort of ongoing, you want to stay on top of. Great way to proactively manage some risk, avoid issues so they don't become problems down the road.